Lil Yachty.
He said that your verse on Jail was better than Ho's.
It was. You heard both of them?
I don't want to get involved.
Come on,
because I try to get.
You a straight shooter.
So DaBaby just dumped a bunch of baby oil bottles on a sidewalk while filming a music video, and the internet absolutely lost it. At first glance, it looked like another rapper doing something wild for attention. But when you realize the timing of that video, when you understand what was happening with Diddy at that exact moment, suddenly that innocent little stunt doesn't seem so innocent anymore. Because within hours, people weren't just talking about DaBaby. They were talking about Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and a web of connections that nobody saw coming. What seemed like a harmless joke was about to spiral into something much darker. Let's rewind for a second. September 2024, DaBaby posts this video where he's literally pouring bottles of baby oil onto the street, laughing about being on his freaky behavior. Most people would have scrolled past it, but this wasn't most times. Just weeks earlier, federal agents had raided Diddy's properties and reportedly found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
There's a lot of negative stuff around Jay-Z right now, which is clearly damaging to him.
Yeah, and I think there's like a famous quote from someone who was acquitted, and he said, all right, where do I go to get my reputation back?
Right.
I mean, social media was alight. Beyonce's next, Jay-Z's next, all the people in Inner Circle is next.
The media went crazy with it. Late night hosts made jokes, Twitter turned it into memes, and suddenly baby oil became the symbol of everything allegedly wrong with Diddy's private life. So when DaBaby decided to make his little video, he wasn't just being random, he was making a statement. The question is, was he mocking Diddy or hinting at something bigger? Because in Hollywood, timing is everything, and this timing, it felt deliberate. Now, to understand why this video caused such chaos, you need to know what was happening with Diddy behind the scenes. This wasn't just another celebrity scandal that would blow over in a week. Diddy was facing serious federal charges involving allegations that painted a disturbing picture of what went on at his exclusive parties. Prosecutors weren't holding back. They described events that were tightly controlled, secretive, and according to them, deeply inappropriate.
First of all, I want to be very clear on the conflation between going to a Diddy party and then going to Diddy After Dark.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I said yesterday on a program that, you know, it's like you pass by the door and see a party in an apartment, you go in, you have a drink, and then you go home and realize Jeffrey Dahmer was eating and killing people. People that went to a Diddy party.
The details that came out during the investigation shocked people. Stories about power, manipulation, and guests who allegedly had no idea they were being recorded. For years, there had been whispers about Diddy's infamous gatherings, the kind of parties where only certain people got invited, where phones were collected at the door, where what happened inside stayed inside. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. But now, with federal investigators involved, those whispers were becoming public record. And once that happens, everyone who was ever photographed with Diddy, everyone who ever attended one of his events, everyone who ever collaborated with him started getting nervous, because guilt by association is real in the court of public opinion.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
The internet does what it does best. It started digging. Old photos resurfaced. Guest lists from parties a decade ago got analyzed. People went through Instagram archives looking for any celebrity who might have been in Diddy's orbit during those years. And that's when Beyoncé's name started popping up. Not because anyone had evidence, not because she was accused of anything, but because she and Jay-Z had moved in the same circles as Diddy for years. They'd been to the same events, they'd collaborated on projects, they were all part of that upper echelon of entertainment royalty. So when DaBaby made that baby oil video and people started connecting dots, Beyoncé became part of the conversation. Fan pages started posting throwback pictures. Conspiracy theories started forming. And suddenly, the Carters, who built their entire brand on privacy and control, were being dragged into a narrative they never asked to be part of.
For Beyonce, and I'm assuming because somebody was paying her to pump Beyonce up so Beyonce could blow up, because the truth is, that first Beyonce solo record was a mess.
But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because Jay-Z and Beyoncé aren't just any celebrities. They're master strategists. For over 2 decades, they've controlled their narrative with surgical precision. Think about it. How many times have you actually heard them address rumors directly? Almost never. They don't do tell-all interviews. They don't respond to gossip columns. When the elevator incident happened with Solange, they released a single statement and moved on. When the Lemonade album dropped with all those infidelity references, Jay-Z eventually addressed it in his own music, on his own terms. They operate on a completely different level. So when this Diddy situation started spiraling and Beyoncé's name got mentioned, their response was predictable. Silence. Absolute silence. No statements, no denials, no social media posts addressing it. Just business as usual.
You know, like Ashton Kutcher, Demi Moore, Beyonce, Jay-Z. I don't know if they were at Diddy After Dark when people were getting sprayed down with baby oil.
Beyoncé continued promoting her projects. Jay-Z kept making moves in the background. But that silence? Some people saw it as dignity. Others saw it as something else entirely. Because in April 2025, both Beyoncé and Jay-Z were named in a lawsuit, not as defendants, but as potential witnesses to an alleged incident at one of these parties. Their legal team moved fast. They provided evidence showing they weren't even in that city on the date in question. The claims got debunked. But by then, the damage to their carefully crafted image had already started. Yet behind that silence, some believe there was movement happening. See, power in Hollywood doesn't always look like dramatic confrontations or public callouts. Real power is quiet. It's phone calls that stop coming. It's meetings that get mysteriously rescheduled and then canceled. It's opportunities that dry up without explanation. And after DaBaby's video went viral, some people in the industry started noticing something.
Man, LA Leakers, baby, every time we come, we're gonna do this shit, probably gonna do this shit the right way.
A body.
Yeah.
Call a body.
This shit
Laid out.
You know, we better go bring
Rap out here.
Kendrick, J. Cole.
That's one of the rappers you ain't. That's one of the rappers you ain't right there.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave nobody out and have nobody feel no type of way because I respect all my peers.
He got quieter. Fewer collaborations, fewer big features, less visibility overall. Now, was that because Jay-Z allegedly made moves behind the scenes? Or was it just the natural consequence of DaBaby's already struggling career hitting another rough patch? That's where things get complicated. Because here's what most people don't know about DaBaby's situation. If you think DaBaby's troubles only started with that video, you're missing the bigger picture. DaBaby's real cancellation happened way before Diddy's arrest, way before any baby oil videos. July 2021, Rolling Loud Festival in Miami. DaBaby was on stage performing to thousands of fans when he made a series of homophobic comments that were so offensive, so tone-deaf, that the backlash was immediate and brutal. Major festivals dropped him from lineups. Brands cut ties. He lost a partnership with Burger King. Even other artists publicly distanced themselves. Elton John wrote an open letter. Dua Lipa, who had collaborated with him, expressed disappointment. This wasn't a small controversy. This was a career-altering moment. And despite multiple apologies, despite attempts to clarify and walk it back, the damage was done. DaBaby went from being one of hip-hop's rising stars to someone the industry wasn't sure they wanted to work with anymore. So by the time 2024 rolled around, his career was already on life support. The baby oil video didn't start his problems. It just reminded everyone he was still capable of making questionable decisions. But it also did something else. It put him on the radar of people who really didn't want to be part of this Diddy conversation.
Y'all see something in the parking lot?
Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga in the parking lot, put your cell phone nice and
I don't go to that parking lot. I pull it straight in, but all in all though, man, like even from anybody, look,
stupid, man.
because I ain't even spoken on like anybody from the LGBTQ community, any of that, bro. I am not tripping on y'all. I ain't never had an issue with nothing.
Think about how Hollywood actually works. You don't need to make public threats. You don't need to send intimidating messages. All you need to do is let it be known through the right channels, through the right people, that someone has become a liability, that they're messy, that working with them might bring unwanted attention. And in an industry where reputation is everything, that's enough. DaBaby's video might have been intended as a joke, But it landed during the most sensitive moment possible. Right when powerful people were trying to distance themselves from anything Diddy related. Right when lawyers were working overtime to keep their clients' names out of court documents. Right when the last thing anyone wanted was some rapper making cute videos about baby oil and reigniting the entire conversation. Whether Jay-Z personally did anything or not, the message in the industry was clear. This wasn't the time for jokes. This wasn't the time to be messy. And anyone who couldn't read that room was going to have a hard time moving forward. And before we wrap, there's one detail everyone's overlooking.
The actual facts of this story are way less dramatic than the conspiracy theories, but they're important. In December 2024, Jay-Z was named in a civil lawsuit alleging he and Diddy assaulted a minor at a party back in 2000. Jay-Z's response was immediate and forceful. He called it a blackmail attempt. He filed to have the case dismissed. He publicly stated that if these allegations were true, criminal charges should be filed, not a civil suit seeking money. His legal team provided receipts, timelines, and evidence challenging the claims. Now, whether you believe him or not is your choice, but the point is, Jay-Z did not stay silent on that. He fought it directly. Similarly, when that April 2025 lawsuit mentioned both Beyoncé and Jay-Z as potential witnesses, their team quickly provided documentation proving they weren't present at the alleged location. These weren't vague denials. These were specific, evidence-backed responses.
The problem is there are just so many pictures of the two of them partying together, and it clearly was at a lot of Diddy parties.
And here's the key thing everyone needs to understand. Despite all the speculation, all the social media theories, all the YouTube videos connecting dots, neither Beyoncé nor Jay-Z have been named in Diddy's actual federal indictment. They're not defendants in his criminal case. Federal prosecutors who have been investigating this for years and clearly aren't holding back have not implicated them in any wrongdoing. Does that mean they never attended a Diddy party? No, they probably did. So did hundreds of other celebrities, business moguls, and industry executives over the years. But attending a party and being involved in criminal activity are two very different things. So where does that leave us with DaBaby? Here's the reality. DaBaby made a poorly timed joke that fed into an already explosive situation. Whether he intended to hint at deeper secrets or was just being careless, we may never know. What we do know is that his career continues to struggle. Not because Jay-Z allegedly threatened him, not because Beyoncé's team blacklisted him, but because he's been operating in a space where one misstep after another has eroded his industry credibility.
GMA cover story. Grammy-nominated rapper DaBaby recently made some homophobic comments at a music festival in Miami. Now fans and fellow celebs are sounding off.
The homophobic comments in 2021 did real damage. His inability to read the room on sensitive topics continued that pattern, and his association, even indirectly, with one of the biggest scandals in hip-hop history didn't help. Meanwhile, Jay-Z and Beyoncé continue to thrive. They just performed together in Paris. They're still releasing music, they're still building their empire, because they know how to play the long game. They know when to speak and when silence is more powerful than words. This whole situation reveals something fascinating about how modern celebrity culture works. In the age of social media, anyone can become part of a narrative within hours. A single video, a single photo, a single connection can spark theories that spread faster than facts ever will. And once you're in that narrative, getting out is nearly impossible, because even when you're cleared, even when evidence proves you weren't involved, the association remains. People will still bring up your name, videos will still include you in thumbnails, the algorithm will still connect you to the scandal. That's the price of fame in 2025. You can be guilty of nothing more than being in the wrong place at the wrong time, knowing the wrong people, or in DaBaby's case, making the wrong joke at the worst possible moment. And if you're someone like Jay-Z or Beyoncé, you've spent decades learning how to navigate these waters. You know that not every accusation deserves a response. You know that silence, when strategic, can be more effective than engaging. But you also know that when real threats emerge, when your actual legacy is on the line, you move with precision and force. So did DaBaby expose Beyoncé's role at Diddy's parties? No, there's no evidence he did that or that such a role even exists. Did Jay-Z threaten him? There's no proof of that either. What likely happened is much simpler and much more common in Hollywood. An artist who was already struggling made another questionable choice that reminded people in power why working with him might be more trouble than it's worth. And in an industry built on relationships, reputation, and timing, that's all it takes. You don't need elaborate conspiracies when simple consequences will do. The real story here isn't about secret parties or hidden scandals. It's about how proximity to controversy can affect your career, how powerful people protect their brands, and how one moment of poor judgment can follow you forever. In a world where everyone has a camera, everyone has a platform, and everyone has an opinion, the line between innocent joke and career suicide has never been thinner. So what do you think? Was DaBaby's video just bad timing or something more calculated? Do you believe the theories about industry blacklisting? Or is his career decline just natural consequences catching up? And in all of this, where do we draw the line between holding people accountable and destroying them based on speculation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a real conversation about this because this story is far from over. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit that like button. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this saga because trust me, more is coming. And until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and remember, in Hollywood, nothing is ever quite what it seems.